So today we'll look at couple of more tips actually. So first tip is related to a particular feature which can be quite helpful actually. Let's say you're working on some data, and at the moment, say I'm looking at this data, and I have a total at the very bottom, right? And I can also have, let's say, I'll also just create an average. Average of all this. Okay, so I have an average and I have a summation. Let's say if you are working, oh, sorry, this does again. Yeah. And you're working on this data to rectify these changes so that your total, let's say your total compensation is under some budget or something like that. So I'll go ahead and make the necessary changes that are required. And whenever I make some change, I would like to know the value that is how much it is changing at the below, right? Average and the summation. One thing that I can do is obviously create the formula here, which is okay. But let's say if you're dealing with changes that are coming from multiple sheets, right? And you want to keep track not just that particular cell, but cells that are coming from multiple sheets as well. In that case, what you can, there is a particular feature in Excel which says something called watch window. So what this can do is this will create the temporary window on the top of your screen, which can help you track the changes that are happening on any of the cells in your Excel on a live basis. So for example, at the moment this cell is already added, the summation cell. Let me add just another cell, which is I have to go down and just select this average, add to watch, and click add, and I can, yeah, so okay, so I'll go to the top, and this dialog box will always remain, and I can just see the values change. So I just view that, yeah. So I can see the values change as I keep working on it, and I can. It's just a little productivity sort of a tool tip. So that is one thing. Secondly, the other second tip that I had for today is something called custom views in Excel. So let's come back to this data again. Let's say sometimes you'd be working, this data is pretty simple at the moment, but think of a situation where you're working with some 50-60 columns and several sets of rows, okay? And you need to apply certain sets of filters all the time to analyze certain data. Let's say, for example, I have this department here, and I need a set of a group of departments, and I need to analyze compensation related to those departments alone, okay? And this is only one filter, and I can also have multiple filters. Okay, I want only, okay, first of all, I'll say this filter, and I will analyze whatever the analysis that I want. Okay, average is this much, sum is this much, and I'll go back again, and now I want to analyze the rest of the departments as another group, right? And I'll do the analysis. And if I want to change back, you go back to group one again, I'll have to do this process again. And when you are dealing with multiple columns and multiple filters, it can be a slightly time taking and tedious task. So what you can do is there's something called custom view. If I'm not wrong, it should be in the view tab. So this is something. So what you can do is click on custom view, and you can, so these are all something that is already created. You can create a set of whatever the view that you have put on. Either you can hide certain rows, columns, whatever the filters, and you can create that, save that particular view for a quick access later. So currently I'm saving this particular view, and I will add this as, let's say, maybe group one. Click OK, and now this is saved as group one. Now I can say I'll create further one more group saying that, hey, I only need half-time and full-time people in another group. Click OK. I'll again go here. I'll add group 1. Half-time and full-time. Click OK, and I can clear the filters. And likewise, I can basically create whatever the set of groups that I want. And it'll also work with hiding of the columns. So just so you know, so now I have cleared out all the filters, and if you want to just go to that particular group, I don't have to manually do all the filtering. I can just come here and click OK, and it'll automatically show that particular view which you want to look at. So I can click this, click OK, and I'm showing only the half-time and full-time. So this can be you can handy when you are doing a presentation on the Excel data to show your analysis. So this is the second tip. And
there is a quick question over there.
Yes.
Let's say now we are in formulas link tab, and if you want to see a group 1, will that still work? Like when we are in another different sheet?
Oh, you mean this? You are in this tab?
No, go formulas link tab and go to some other tab apart from this data tab.
Okay.
Now, if you want to see, any of the group, let's say group 1 or group 2 using custom views, well, let's do.
Okay, let me see if I clear this here first. Yep, okay, it's okay. One other quick point actually. So
Akhil, I think your point was that is that view specific to the tab, or can I use it across tabs? That's the question, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I think looks like it is specific to that tab. In fact, it moved to the tab and gave the exact settings.
Right. So one other thing, obviously, this particular custom views button, every time we want to change a view, we have to navigate to view and then click on this. Sometimes we may want the flexibility to remain on a other tab and still be able to switch to the views quickly. So what you can do is you can right click on this and add to the quick access toolbar, so it will remain at the top, and so whatever the tab other ribbon tab that you're working on, it will remain quickly accessible, so that you can change quickly whatever the ones that you want. So let me see if I have any more.
Let me just add one or two things.
Yes. Yep.
So not about this one, but something else. See, the watch window that Jagdish has shared before is very useful when, let's say, when you're working. See, typically when we work on data, we work in a certain way, right? Which is, let's say, we have a table like this, we're trying to get some information out of it, etc., or we are sort of modifying the data, etc. But typically, what happens is we create models, okay, in Excel. Models means that you have very large, either financial, operational, or maybe engineering models. Some of you may have already created these. So wherein, sort of assumptions are there in one place, there are a lot of calculations in other place, and, maybe you have some formulas, so lots of details. So for example, in a financial model, right, you would have assumptions, you have, production related assumptions, and then you have financial assumptions, you may have loans, right? You will then have an income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, things like that. It can also be, something like a certain type of simulations, so like a Monte Carlo simulation, for example, where you have 10,000 different assumptions of how different sort of parameters will be input, etc., right? And then you analyze the outcome. Now the question is, when you go and deal with something in a specific sheet, you would like to see what is going on in the other sheet. How is it changing, right? So then what you could do is you can just change this here, but you have the watch window, and then you can without having to navigate to the other tab or forwards, maybe many page downs that you have to do, and then you have to go and then see what happens there. You can actually do that in watch window, right? I hope it's clear. Everyone are you relating to the issue that I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that is one thing I wanted to add. So let me just now. Jagdish, I'll request for a remote control, okay,
Sure.
so that I can work on this particular one.
Absolutely.
One very quick shortcut we will have to look at, then we will move over to something else. So does anyone know the shortcut for sum?
Yeah, I know.
Sum. You know, what is that, Jagdish?
Alt equals.
Alt equals, perfect. Okay. So there is one other thing as well. So I think, even though alt equals is supposed to be a sum, I will demo that too. But now that there is a filter set here, I think it will set to something called a subtotal. Let me just check that. Let's see. So there you go. It is going to what is called a subtotal. And the subtotal, the way it is giving is also it's looking at the nearest one. It's not really looking at the total altogether. So I think that's 9, if I remember right, is for the visible cells. I think I could be wrong here. This will give me an error if I do it right now. 744. Let us see what's going on here. So going on from 631 until okay. Let's see the sum here. There you go. See 580, 200. You see the sum at the bottom here?
Right.
Okay. What it's doing there is it's totaling only for the visible cells. Okay, not the underlying cells.
Right.
Are you on the same page?
Yes.
Yeah. It is whatever is visible on the screen. It's totaling only that, and the subtotal 9. Okay, is for the visible cells only, if I remember it correct. So that is something you may want to check this out. Okay, but it's doing a subtotal and it's not a total. Okay, let me just do the same thing for you over here. I'll just copy these cells over here. Okay, so for this particular range, there is no filter applied. So how do I know that a filter is applied? If the row numbers turn blue, then I know that the filter has been applied. Okay, so but for this particular range, you can see that the row numbers do not have the blue color for row numbers. So that's why I know that filtering has not been applied for this. Okay, if I do that, the same the shortcut over here, which is alt plus equal to. Okay, so essentially you hit alt and equal to simultaneously. Okay, in this particular case, what it has done is it has still applied subtotal. Okay, it is probably because we already have the filter applied right here. Sorry, you're saying something. Okay, so let me just take the same cells which are here because I think it is applied to the sheet. Looks like it is automatically taking the subtotal. But if I do that in a separate sheet, let me just do that over here. Okay, so alt equals, and see right now the formula is different. It's just sum.
Right.
Then same page here, everyone. Okay.
Yes.
So, but the most important thing is oftentimes you will have to do, so I got used to using equal, sum, and so on and so forth. But this is a shortcut, neat shortcut that's available. Okay. Let me just close this. Let me just walk you through something else. So, when you work in Excel, let me just take a bit of maybe I'll just change this for now. Okay. All right. So let me just demo. This is something that Jagdish had already talked about in the past, but let me just walk you through that because there are some other areas here. There's something called go to. Okay. Let me just figure out how to do this in. Maybe if it is formulas, I'm not so sure. I typically use a shortcut called Control G. Okay, Control G is for go to. Okay, does anyone know how to navigate it through the menu?
On the home tab,
Home tab, it's there.
Home tab, find and select. Right side.
Find and select. Find and select.
If I can.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yes. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Okay. There it is. Okay. Go to. Okay. Just the next item is go to this one right here.
Yeah.
Right there. Okay. So that's the one. You can also do this by doing Control G. Okay. So the navigation system changed after I got used to the shortcuts. I never bothered what's there. I just use the shortcut all the time. So Control G is the shortcut. So let me just walk you through some things here. So let us say if you have a very big spreadsheet. Okay. So for example, right here, right. So we are at row number 629 all the way till, let's say, 745. Now I want to go to let's say A1. Yeah, A1. Okay. So I can put A1 right here in what's called the reference. Okay. And I can hit OK, and I'll go straight to that. Okay. So typically you are sort of shuffling between that place and this place. Now I don't remember where I was. Let's say now I do a Control G again. It will remember where I was before.
Interesting.
Okay. So now I hit OK. I'll go back to the place where I was. Understood? Okay. So this is go to function. So it will remember a few of them. Okay. So see, for example, it remembers now A1 as well as C, whatever. Sometimes you could just say, if you have named a specific cell, let's say control home. Okay. All right. I'm not sure why it went to that tab. Control function. Yeah, I have to function as well. There you go. Okay. So control home takes you to the top. Let's say let's say I'll name this cell. Okay. So you can actually name it by just putting your cursor right here and say, I'll say so J and J1. Okay, I just called it that. Okay, there's no significance to that. But let us say what I can do is let's say Control G. I go to that place and it automatically has that J and K1. All the names will be right there. Okay, so you can click on it. You can just hold on. Just hold on. Sorry guys, I'm back. Okay, all right. So let's okay, so that is so far as I think you got it right. So basically when you have the name, it will let you navigate through the go-to feature. So let me just sort of show that to you again. So hold on a minute. Control G right there. Okay. So you have something called special as well, and it has some this is something that Jagdish has referred to in previous presentation, but we'll just walk through some of these. Okay. Let's say if you have so let's first walk through what all we have right here. Okay. So Control G, special, and typically the shortcut for this is Control G and Alt S. Okay, for special. Okay, that's an easy way to get to this, and you have like many really interesting features right here. Okay, so you can, let's say if you have a lot of nodes, okay, you can navigate through each of them. We will just come to that, but let's get through some of the ones that we use often. So take these. So you have formulas, text, logicals, and errors. Okay, so this is such a beautiful thing. If you have lots of formulas, okay, and there are errors all over, then what you can do is you can just click on these errors and basically just navigate to all those errors. Okay. So for example, so I think we have to create errors right now. So let's say.
Maybe you can use the cell dependency sheet. It's kind of, that data is prepared to explore that feature.
Acha. Okay. So have you already walked everyone through this?
No, I haven't. Maybe I just covered one feature there. But
okay. Got it. Okay.
Errors could be missing, but others can be explained in this data.
Okay. Got it. All right. So where are the formulas? We have some of the formulas right here. Okay. So let me just put NA here. All right. So these have become errors. Now what I can do is I can do Control G. Okay. Go to special. Okay. Formulas. Okay, and go to errors. Okay, now I can hit tab And as I hit tab, I'll go from error to error to error. Okay. Here there are too many errors and all of them are at one place. But if you have a model wherein the data goes from row number A1 to, let's say, Z256 or to Z1000, for example, and you have only 5 errors, now you can very efficiently navigate from error to error and fix those. In a similar way, let me just undo this. Let's say if I have all of this over here, and similarly, if you have formulas in some of these, right? So I can just say I want to go to all formulas. Now I'm selecting only the ones that have formulas. So it makes so much sense if you just use the mouse and click on something else, right? The selection will go away. But what you can do is you can do Control G, right? Alt S, go to the formulas, and now your all the formulas are selected. You can actually go to all of them and then select. And then if you want to edit, you can just hit F2, modify it, hit Enter, and now you still have the selection all saved. Okay, so you don't have to do Control G again. So now you can navigate to the next formula and so on and so forth. It is very efficient when you're using so many formulas. Let me just go over to the tab again. See, you have what is called blanks, which is very, very interesting. So for example, let's say, so let me just demo the thing for you. I think you will find the ways. So for example, let me just go back to this particular data. And one of the ways that I use is something like this. I'll just make a copy of this. Okay. So I've removed the entire the filters, and the shortcut for that is Control Shift L. Okay, I can do Control Shift L and get the filters back again. I'll remove this. Okay, so let us say, for example, let's say just insert this, and let's say I want to select creative. Okay, and I have the creative. Now I have a few rows. So for example, for whatever reason, say I don't want hourly, for example, for this, and I have just deleted this. Okay, I don't want this line, and I don't want this line. Okay, something like that. Okay. Now it has created sort of inconsistencies, right, between. So there are 2 rows that are not there. What I can do is, so Control Shift End. Okay, and I've selected all the data. Let's say I want to select only until here. Okay, and I have selected that. Now I can do a Control G, Alt S. Okay, and I want to select only the blanks. Okay, and there are actually many more rows and columns. Okay, but typically what may happen is, let me just go to only this particular column, and I'll do the same thing again. Control G, blanks, and I have only those 2 that are selected. Okay, even if you have like multiple of them, it will select all the blanks. Okay, that's the most important piece here. And now what I can do is Alt E and D, okay, which is for delete. So let me just, I think you should be able to find this in the same one as well. So we have a delete option. So let me just see where it is through navigation. You have it right here. Okay, you have delete. Right, so delete cells. You can in fact delete rows or columns as well. I'll just choose to delete rows. Okay, delete sheet rows. Okay, now I have deleted all the rows that have blanks in them. Right, this will be very useful when you have, let's say, when you are wrangling with data, right, and you find that let's say in a specific sheet you have, let's say, dashes or something like that which you don't want. Okay, and you have deleted all of them. Now you have to go to all the intervening rows and delete all those rows as well, right? With this scenario, what you can do is you can just use this feature and delete all the rows at one go. Is getting it?
Right.
Yeah, you can have like, whatever, 1,000 blank rows that are all in between. You can delete all of them at once. Okay, so let me just go over and just explore one or 2 other ones. This is very interesting. Objects. Okay, this is beautiful. Let me just walk you through. this. I think you had, there you go. Here, see, you have these objects, right? See, this is option 1, option whatever. These are all objects, okay? Sometimes what happens is, this happens many times when you just copy paste data from from a website, for example, okay? When you copy paste data, what happens is you have some of the web elements like let's say the radio buttons, or maybe some of the text boxes, some unwanted stuff that will all get copy pasted onto Excel, okay? This will also happen when you have many objects, just like this one. You have many objects, right? When you want to select all of them, either you want to navigate to all of them, or you want to edit, right? Or you want to basically delete all of them. In those cases, it will be very useful, okay? Are you able to relate to the use case?
Yes, Satina. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So you can do this. You can do Control G, Alt S again for special, and click on objects and click OK. Then it will select all the objects together, right? See, it won't be a big deal if you have only 4 or 5 objects, right? You will click and you'll delete it. It's not a big deal. But if you have like 200 of them, what do you do?
Right.
If you have 200 of them, you can just do this and select all of them at one go without having to worry, hey, are you going to delete any of your data? For example, you might say, okay, let's say you do this, right? If you delete, I don't know if it did not delete here, okay? Sometimes it does select, okay? It is a bit unclear to me actually how it does it. But with this feature, you are able to select all the objects at one go and just delete all of them at one time, right? See, look at all of it. So now that you've got to know what exactly this go-to feature does, let's just explore each of them, and then we'll walk through. Okay. First, the one that we have already gone through, formulas. You can just go to only numbers, only text, right? The logicals like the true or false, errors, and so on and so forth. Okay, this is all just beautiful because if you have lots of data, it will just let you, you can control and sort of get to exactly the ones that you're looking for, right? You also have what's called a constants, right? Notes. When you have lots of notes, right, and you want to either someone sent you all of this, you have like 20 notes and you want to delete each of them. Typically, what you do is if you have a note, let's just add a note right here, right? A new note, okay, and you'll just select something, right? You have to right click on this. You have to go and delete note, okay. But if you have this feature, you can actually go to all the notes at one place, at one go, and delete whichever way you want to do it, you can do it. Let me just demo this for you. So when you copy paste this, notes also will get pasted, just FYI, right? So you can just go to all of these, go to special, right? There's the notes is right there, okay? And now you can deal with it. You can either sort of navigate if you would like to, or alternately, you can use the function, the right click thing, and then you can delete note. Okay. And when I did that, it deleted all the notes. Okay. And if you again try to right click, you have to be careful here. But I typically, what I do is I use the function that's on the keyboard that has the right click option. Okay. And when you do that, so that's when you get this right click, and because all those cells are already selected, it will basically sort of select, it's applying the function, whatever command that you give to all those cells. Okay, so let's go to something else here. So it will let you go to the last cell as well. Visible cells only. This used to be very beautiful and extremely useful function before. So see, right now, in fact, these guys have changed the way they work on this. Let me just select some of these. So now, right now, okay. So right now we are here. Let's say I want to select only some of these. Okay, and I've selected already. There is some function, sort of some filter is already there. So let's say whatever is visible, I want to select only that. Okay. So earlier, what used to happen is that, so when I copy, see, you can see right here, see row number A1 is selected, 204, 205, 2121, so on and so forth are selected. So there are obviously some cells that are hidden, right? Now, if I do this, Control C and Control V, okay, So we have this, and I'd like to go to a new tab, and I paste it. It only pastes the visible cells. Okay. Earlier, what used to happen was that it used to copy everything, and now how do I basically deal with it? Then the visible cells only used to be useful. Now that Excel has made it by default, when in a filter, when you copy 99% of the time, you want to copy only the visible cells, and that's the reason they went ahead and made it visible cells only. Okay, so that's good. So that's good. But there still are reasons why you might want to use it. So, for example, let's say you have this and you have hidden this. Okay, hide, and then you have this. You hide this and hide this. Whatever totally wrote, there are 31 rows here. Let's say I have hidden this as well. Now I want to copy this. Okay, now let us see what it does. So Control C, I'll go to a new tab, Control V. Look at this, it has copied all of the data, right? Even the hidden ones. Okay, now if you want to copy only the visible cells, now you can do this. Okay, visible cells only. Now Control C, right? So as a comparison, I'll just paste it over here. Now you can see it has copied only the visible cells. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Guys, is this being useful or not?
Yeah. Useful.
So let's go back here. We'll just explore one or two more of this and we'll close the session. It's already beyond the regular time. Conditional formats. Sort of self-explanatory. If you have not done this thing, so just check it out. If you have not explored conditional formatting, so you may apply this only to some of the cells in the conditional formatting. In that case, it will be very useful. Okay. There's something also row differences and column differences. I'm not very sure what exactly it is, so I will talk about that now. Data validation. Okay. If you want data validation, sort of cells only, so that's also very useful. So wherever you have, let's say, lists or something else like that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think that is it for now. We'll close the session. So Jagdish, anything else?
Actually, I think that's good tips, Chaitanya. But on the similar note, actually, one more minute, I have a small issue with the hidden cells copy paste option, Chaitanya. It's the technique that which we talked is to actually copy the only visible cells, right? Let's say if we want to do the opposite of pasting the data in only visible cells, I'm finding it difficult to achieve that task. I'm not sure if we know anything, anyone knows anything there. So let me just demonstrate that. Let's say
it'll give an error, right? So that you can only paste them.
Yeah, it's actually, let's say I'll copy this data, and it's about some many rows, some 22 rows or something like that. I'll go to a new sheet, and what I'll do is I'll hide the set of rows here. And I want the data to come from here to here, excluding the hidden rows of data. And when I paste this, what's happening is it's actually pasting it in the already hidden rows. So that is something that which I'm not understanding how to achieve that.
So I think so. You could potentially try this. I'm not so sure if it will work. But so where did we copy this from data, right? Is that correct?
This one, yeah, this one.
Okay. Yeah. I think it gives you an error if my understanding is correct. So let me we will try it, but I don't think we'll be successful right there. So let's say we want to do this. Okay, so how many? So this is about 22, 23, right? Okay. This is 23 exactly. Okay. We'll take this, we'll see what happens. Sheet 2 right there. Okay. So for 3 to 19 to 16, I think this should be fine, I guess. Okay. So we had like 3 columns that we copied, right? Or how many columns was this?
3 columns.
3 columns. Okay. Yeah, so let's say we'll go to this. Get Control G, Alt S, single cells only, and paste. Okay, there you go. Copy and paste are on the same side. Okay. Let's see. Did we get the right number? So count is 12. So that's clear. So how many are these? Is it the exact same shape or not? So how many rows is this? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, let me just copy this stuff over here. So let me see. This is 22 we discussed, right? So let me just get rid of 2. Okay, so we have a 3 for a bottom one. So similarly, what's the number right here? That's it, 26. So okay. Now I think this is 20. Okay, including the header, so that's good. Just do this and see what happens now. I don't know if it will ever work. Let me see. So far as the size is concerned, it is clear, but I still don't think it will work. Okay, it doesn't allow.
Right.
Okay, so this is what it is. So if you really want to do that, I'm not so sure if there is any workaround. So typically what I do is something like this. So I think it has to be patch by patch only.
Right. Yeah.
If there are like multiple patches, it doesn't work. Typically in that situation, what I do is I tend to use like a formula.
Okay.
So what kind of formula do I use? So basically I would do something like this, right? So I would say equals, okay, and I would select this one. So I'll get that over there, right? And then basically I can like copy paste that over here because we are looking at 3 columns. Okay, so those we have gotten the 3. Okay, I think it copied the formatting also. We will just let go of that formatting. But so let's say if I just paste, so you can do Alt Special and you can use only formulas only. Okay, paste special. Okay, it's called the paste special, and you can avoid pasting all the formatting as well here. So once that is done, so what I have to do here is I have to do one more formula. Okay, so I have to go back there and I'll have to select the 4th one. And once I do this, now I can do this. But if you have like, again, this is a workaround. Whatever there is only a workaround. So we have to figure out which workaround we have to use, that's all. But beyond that, we know for sure that it has to be a workaround because Excel doesn't really allow that thing.
Right. Yeah.
Copy pasting across various visible cells. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, all right.